Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to another brand new episode of Sky's the Limit. This is Syed Farooq Hasan, your own host. And today again I have the honor and privilege of being with another very talented and successful Pakistani. She is heavily into social work. She has her own NGO which she founded, and she's trying to expand that. Besides that, she's a very learned individual. She's an Oxford graduate, has a deep passion for sports, whether it be cricket or running or marathons. We happened to catch her while she was on a visit to Islamabad for a marathon. So imagine, so juggling all these things and, caring so much about the society and specifically all of us in Pakistan. Let's talk to Mahreen Shahid. Assalamu alaikum, Mahreen.
Assalamu alaikum ji.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good. I thought I'll catch you before your marathon so that we can have a good session. Otherwise, you'll be very tired after that, right?
It's later in the day today.
Later in the day today. Okay. So, Mahreen, I was just going through your profile. I was very impressive profile. You're an Oxford graduate, and at the same time you are heavily into sports and other extracurricular activities also. I would like you to run down your life's journey till now, and specifically this safe delivery, safe mother. What was the concept behind that? But before we go into all that, tell me how did it all start? Where was Mahreen born, and how many siblings, and how was your early childhood?
I was born and raised in Lahore, and I have 4 sisters. So we don't have a brother, 2 older sisters, and a twin sister who does not look like me at all.
Okay.
So we're fraternal, and
so you have an identical.
A non-fraternal. She doesn't look like me.
Okay.
So we look very different.
Okay. But you're twins.
But we're twins.
Okay.
So yes, born and raised in Lahore. So I'm like a hardcore Lahori, as they say, and spent my early years there, childhood, and went to school there as well.
So you are in the middle, or you're the last two?
We are the last 2.
Okay,
and
so you've got 2 elder sisters.
Yes, 2 elder sisters, and then it's us twins.
Sibling. Okay.
Yes.
All right, great. And being the youngest has its perks and benefits, being the youngest in the house. So I'm sure you were a very pampered kid in the.
Yes, I mean as the youngest you get away with a lot more. The expectations are less.
Expectations are less, and lot more of affection and care being showered on you. Which school, which nursery, which school did you go to?
So I'm a convent girl. I went to the Convent of Jesus and Mary. It's basically the one that's close to Shimla Pahari. Very different part of town actually now, because Lahore has grown a lot.
Yeah.
And then I went to Lahore Grammar School for my A level. And then I went to LUMS, the Lahore University of Management Sciences.
You did your MBA from there?
I did my undergraduate from there.
Undergraduate from there. Okay. And as while growing up, I'm sure everyone has memories. And were you like a naughty kid, or were you the sober one? Like always telling others what not to do?
Well, I mean, if I compare with my twin, I was definitely the naughty one.
Okay.
She was the one who used to go home and tell all the stuff that I was doing.
Okay.
So that's how it was. So definitely more on the naughty side.
Okay.
I think more into sports, more into outdoor activities.
Okay.
My twin was more fond of being indoors.
Okay.
So we grew up with very different interests, and of course, I mean, the benefit of being in Pakistan is that you have a big family network, a lot of cousins. So you're able to do a lot more activities here.
Bonds are very strong.
Yes, absolutely, social bonds.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And so while I'm sure you would have been a normal, I'd put you in the normal naughty category, but were you like good in studies during your school days? Were you like a topper, top 3 kind of student?
So actually not. I was not. I was a pretty average student. I think I would call myself a late bloomer, much later on.
Okay.
I was not really one of those who was focused a lot on studying or was topping in class or something to that effect, and not much pressure from home also, so it was all quite relaxed growing up.
Oh, okay, cool. And what was your ambition? What was your vision when you were growing up? What did you want to become? Like most kids, some want to become a doctor when they grow up, or some want to do engineering. What was your...
So when I grew up, actually, I was extremely passionate about cricket. That was like my absolute favorite thing.
Oh, really?
And I grew up playing a lot of cricket, in the streets,
And
in
you
the
were playing with
playground.
boys or your cousins?
Cousins,
or your
usually
girls,
male
other
cousins.
girls?
Usually male cousins
Male
because
cousins.
you know we don't have a lot of females interested in the sport. So I would spend actually hours playing, and something very close to my heart, and I was good at it as well. I'm athletic, so that was beneficial to the sport. And I remember going to my parents at 15, 16, I think, and I said I want to
Become a cricketer.
become a cricketer. So
Okay.
very passionate about that. That's the one memory I have, that you know this is what I wanted to be.
Oh, okay.
But then, you know, I think back then we didn't have a very clear pathway, I think, for women's cricket.
Okay.
You know, life had other plans.
And who was your favorite cricketer? If I may ask.
So I was really.
Who inspired you?
I mean, that was later on in life, obviously, because I'm younger. Was later on was Wasim Akram.
Wasim Akram.
I thought he was really an absolute legend in terms of talent.
He's a living legend indeed.
Absolutely.
Till now, he's going very, very strong.
Exactly.
We see him doing commentary in different matches and coaching other players also.
And he's a left arm, and I'm also a left arm. So I think that was.
Okay.
Yeah.
And while you were doing your high school, what major did you pick? Like, did you take medicine, like biology, chemistry, physics? Any specific set of subjects?
So no, when I was doing my A level, it was more all business side. So accounting, economics, business. That was the interest at the time.
Okay.
I wasn't into art.
Okay.
I think my twin was again into art, and I was into business side of things. And that's what then I chose to pursue later at LUMS also.
Oh, okay. And your father was into business also, or was
no,
he
my-
into service?
My father is an engineer.
Engineer.
So
Okay. Okay.
has not been into business.
Okay, okay. So you took these business subjects, and when did you realize that, okay, now I have to focus on my studies and like take life a bit more seriously? What was that stage?
Well, that was a very specific moment, a bad O-level result.
Okay.
That really stayed with me.
You
I
still
was
remember that?
Yeah, that moment I remember. So I remember standing with my group of friends and looking around and being like, we could have done better. So I think that moment made me realize that you can and should do better. And I don't think I got like bad grades after that.
Okay, okay, great. And so everyone has a life-changing, life-turning moment, and it could be good, it could be bad, but usually it's when you're actually feeling low, when you say that, okay, you've hit rock bottom and now the only way is up.
Exactly.
And then what did you start taking tuition or coaching, or like did you get help from your parents or elder siblings?
So when I realized that, of course, it's important to get good grades. I mean, I wouldn't say from a life perspective, but they help you get into good places, right? So I got guidance from teachers. So I got a lot of guidance from a couple of school teachers, and this is something I would like to point out.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about it, especially for younger folks. It's important to get mentors and guidance at the right time.
Yeah.
Because what happened with me also was there were many times in my life that I had to navigate my professional journey and what I want to do by myself.
Okay.
And that can be tough. There's a lot of lessons learned. So if you pick out mentors, it really helps. And that's what helped me.
And who was your mentor?
So I had a teacher, an accounting teacher in A level.
Okay.
So she, I remember,
You
sat
can
me
take the
down.
name.
Her name is Atifa Dar.
She's
So
still there?
She's not there, but I mean, I'm still quite close to her.
Okay.
So she was, I remember we had a conversation and she sat me down and said, you got potential to do much more and you just need to put your mind to it. So very important advice and guidance and support at the right time.
And that really prompted
And
you?
Really did.
Okay.
Really did. She said,
Great.
you're capable, A-level results, exams are coming in the next few months, just focus on your studies. So to my point, that getting mentorship and guidance goes a long way for young kids, young students at the time.
So were you into hard working or were you into smart working?
So I think it was a little bit of a combination.
Okay.
Just be smart about what you study, but then give it your all.
Okay.
So I'm the kind of person who can spend hours doing something and not tire easily. So definitely I think I have a hard-working bone, and you just have to be smart about how you do it so that you get the outcome that you want.
Okay. You did your A-levels, got flying, passed in flying colors?
Yes.
Very good marks, and you got into LUMS, because I know the admission criteria for getting into LUMS is pretty tough.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you would have scored well, right?
Yeah.
How was LUMS? How was your experience there?
LUMS was phenomenal. I think LUMS was really the formative years of my life. When I started LUMS, one of the first things that used to happen is that we used to back then have a quarter system. So now they have a semester system, so that's 2 semesters, but we had 4 quarters.
Okay.
3 months. So it's more stuff packed into a shorter time.
Okay.
With more exams and tests. So the first time I had 3 exams in 24 hours, I was like, how am I going to do this? In 3 different subjects, how do I switch on and off? How do I prepare? And when I did, and I was doing well, so that's where you sort of push your limits, you test yourself, you know what you are capable of.
Yeah.
And if you get in what I call an enabling environment. So LUMS was that, and also great friendships. It's a great place socially. Sports scene is fantastic. A lot of society. So overall, it's a very positive environment to thrive in.
And you did your undergrad in, what was your major?
So I did accounting and finance.
Okay.
Chose to pursue the subjects that I studied in A-level. So my degree was was accounting and finance, but then I also minored in social sciences because I was really interested in sociology, anthropology, and these other subjects as well.
Very nice, very nice. And after doing your undergrad from LUMS, what was your thing? Like, what did you want to do?
So after I graduated from LUMS, I was clear that I don't want to pursue this.
You don't want to pursue your business studies?
Yes, so I did finance and accounting, and my disclaimer to people when I used to meet them was, I'm not a finance person.
Okay.
And
that's quite strange coming from a person who's done finance all along.
For 6 years or so. And at the time we still do have those management trainee programs. All the multinationals come to universities like LUMS and they have tests and you have to sit through the assessment. So I didn't sit for a single test.
Okay.
And I didn't sit for a single interview, and my friends would be like, how are you so calm? How are you so relaxed? Because kids are sort of scrambling to get into real life and opportunities. So,
excited.
So yeah, so for me what's always been the case is I'm very clear on what I want to do and what I don't want to do. So I said I want to go into development, I want to study public policy. And I think that's going to be my true calling, being in the development sector, which is all health, education, the work that we do here for underprivileged communities.
Yeah.
And whilst I was interested in that, and I wanted to do that from even a social work perspective, academically I wanted to study public policy.
Okay. So you were quite sure about what you want.
Yes.
It wasn't someone, like influencing you or prompting you to do that or do this. No, you had your own thing.
It was a time where my father didn't know what public policy was. So I remember we were sitting, he said, do an MBA like everybody does.
Yeah.
Or you people do in the field that you have now chosen, so MBA makes the most sense, and why don't you just do an MBA from LUMS? So I said that I'm sure it's not for me. I think public policy is the way for me. And he said, what is public policy? So I told him a little bit. This is back in I think 2012, 13. Pakistan was sort of getting more and more used to different topics. Like we have MBAs and engineers and doctors. And at that time, I think public policy was upcoming in Pakistan.
Okay.
It's pretty prevalent all over the world by then, but I think Pakistan was catching on.
Okay. So if you were to put public policy concept in a nutshell, what would it be?
So public policy essentially applies to all sectors. It's basically the work that the government does in collaboration with, of course, the private sector. But the point is what policies and systems you have in place in any country to deliver key services.
Okay.
Whether it's health, it's education.
So
What are the policies?
Public-private
public policy, exactly.
Okay.
So it's public sector policies that are in place in countries to deliver essential services to citizens and all, which is of course done perhaps more effectively in certain parts of the world.
Okay.
But in Pakistan, of course, the reality and needs are different.
Great. And how did Oxford come in between? How did you manage to land in Oxford?
Yeah, I literally landed in Oxford. that's the way it was. So I became pretty clear on public policy.
What you want to do? Yeah.
And I was exploring opportunities abroad. I was very keen to go to the US because the postgraduate public policy degrees in the US are 2 years and in the UK are 1 year. So again, I was applying, taking my GRE, the prerequisite test, preparing for it, and very focused on the US.
Okay.
So I was applying and considering shortlisting universities, got into a few, applying for scholarships as well, and not at all interested, so to say, in the UK. But then before I got into Oxford, there was this scholarship called the Anne-Marie Chamel Scholarship. So it's awarded to one Pakistani woman every year.
Okay.
So how it's different from the other scholarships is that it happens sort of a year, 6 months to a year in advance, and then you can choose whichever program you want to go to in the UK.
Okay.
So that was a pretty rigorous process. Like you have a test, you have an interview, get shortlisted. All throughout, I was like, it's obviously not going to be me, because they have to choose one.
And I think your sister was also.
And
that's a very interesting. I would actually like you to share it also.
Yeah. So my twin sister and I both got shortlisted
for that scholarship.
The final round of that scholarship, and they were, I think, 5. So 5 in total, and me and my twin were part of that. So we were talking, you know, that our collective probability is higher than the rest. So one of us.
There were like 4.
There were 5 total.
5. Okay.
So I said one of us should at least hopefully get it.
Right.
And then we, went in for the interview, and I won. And she was a great sport about it, very supportive, very happy for me, and really participated in the process with me.
So you made it on the top amongst those 5 students.
Yeah, because first there's a test, they shortlist, then there's another round, then there's a final interview round.
Okay.
So they basically have centers across Pakistan, in Islamabad, Karachi, Lahore.
Okay.
They have women come and then they give the test, and it's a shortlisting process.
Okay.
So I did that, and then I said, I'm not going to get into Oxford. That's what I thought.
I'm
not going to get into Oxford. And I applied anyway, because I loved their public policy program. It was very rigorous, and it's the kind of thing that I would have suited.
You would want to do.
So again, throughout, I'm like, I'm going to the US, and you get this amazing, fully funded scholarship to go to the UK, and
life
suddenly
couldn't be any better.
Yeah, and you're suddenly like, I'm going to the UK, and then I got into Oxford, and it just took off.
And on scholarship.
Yeah, it was a full scholarship, so a very generous scholarship actually. So it was a pretty great experience to go on.
And how many years were you there for? 2 years?
It was a 1-year program.
1-year program.
Yeah.
And then did you stay on there for some work experience, or you just came back after your degree?
Well, my parents really wanted me to come back. So
you just stayed there for 1 year,
yes,
did your degree and
came back.
How was the experience at Oxford?
Oxford was great. I mean, it's pretty phenomenal.
We have quite a few Pakistani students there now, right?
Yeah, and we have a pretty big Pakistan Oxford Society.
Okay.
So you have all the Pakistanis also who are able to engage in activities of interest or host events, and
I think currently there's a Pakistani who's heading that society, if I'm not mistaken.
So there are 2. One is the Oxford Union,
Yeah.
which is basically being headed by a Pakistani,
Okay.
which is a really prestigious title to have. And then there's the Oxford Pakistan Society.
Oh, okay.
That's
so
for
it.
Pakistanis who are there,
Yep.
who can just engage in
Amongst
activities,
themselves.
yes, and
Okay.
socialize and all.
Okay.
So that's there. Of course, this exposure is great. The kind of people you interact with, the courses, the professors, I think that in and of itself is special.
And was it a tough period? Like, was it like studies-wise and work-wise? Like, was it a very tough routine, or did you enjoy actually?
So academically was very tough,
Okay.
but like I enjoy,
Okay.
tough routines, I guess.
Okay.
By then at least.
Okay, you get challenged.
Yeah, challenge. I always enjoy the challenge.
Okay.
So that was tough, and great to be engaged in with pairs who I learnt a lot from.
Okay.
And then of course, like socially is great. Sports. That's where I got into the Oxford women's cricket team.
Oh, okay.
So
you gave trials and all.
So yeah, you have to you express interest, and then you go, and that was pretty phenomenal actually. I remember I called my sister and said, this is the real dream, playing cricket in the UK. And we used to have like proper matches against Cambridge.
Yeah.
Used to have home games, away games. So that was a pretty phenomenal experience.
And your sister, your sibling, like your twin sister, she ended up being in Pakistan and doing what?
She did her architecture from NCA.
Oh, okay.
And she's an architect.
Okay.
And then years later, she did a degree in urban development from ETH in Zurich.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So you finished your degree at Oxford, got good marks, got good grades, and then you came back.
Yeah.
And what did you want to do then?
So at that time, actually, I was not keen to move back.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to come back to Pakistan and then start working here.
Yeah.
I thought that the best thing about my experience at Oxford was that along public policy, which is what I think, I'm first and foremost, a public policy person, I developed my interest in public health. So those were some of my first exposures to what public health is in the global world.
Yeah.
What is the discourse? What are conversations and discussions happening for lower middle income countries like Pakistan, the developing versus developed world? So I said, this is I'm getting into this. You know that moment of clarity that I get time to time. I said, I'm doing this. So it's like, how am I doing this? I don't know yet, but I'm doing it.
Are you going to join some organization, start your own work, whatever?
Yeah. So I realized that I needed more experience, and I was keen to get health policy experience from the US.
Okay.
So I came back, it was just a transitionary couple of months, and then I got chosen for a fellowship program actually.
Okay.
In the US.
Whereabouts? Which
it's
university?
Called the Global Health Corps Fellowship Program.
Okay.
So it was about a year and a half program where you get training at Yale University. They have a Global Health Leadership Institute, and then you're placed into organizations to actually apply the work.
Oh, okay. Great.
So I did that.
That was a 1 year?
That was a year and a half.
A year and a half.
Yeah, a little less than a year and a half.
Okay.
So I went to Yale for my training, and then I joined the Clinton Foundation in New York. So the Bill Clinton Foundation. So that was a pretty good experience. I think I needed that to get health policy experience, more exposure, sort of international exposure.
Global exposure. Actually.
Exactly. So my family was not happy about, come back.
Again.
And then again, you're ready to move. So I think that was helpful to get me properly positioned in the field of public health.
Okay, so you stayed there for a year and a half,
Yes.
and then for about 6 months for work purpose?
So it was
For the Bill Clinton
a month. It was a month training in Yale, and then 12 months at the. So a year at the Clinton Foundation.
At the Clinton.
Yeah, reasonable amount of time.
Reasonable amount of time. Okay, and then you decided to come back to Pakistan.
So not really actually. So I was at the time interviewing at the World Bank in DC, and was looking at opportunities. So I reached out to people in DC, they were very helpful. I spoke to them, and I talked about what is going on here, what's going on in Pakistan. So I said, I'm keen to move back to Islamabad. Why don't you send me to Islamabad? So they said it's usually the other way around. I said, I think I've done my bit here. I love the work that I'm doing. It's going to be great for me, but like the passion was missing. Like you're like, I'm happy to do work here, but like
there's something missing.
Yeah.
And you want to do something for your own country.
For your own people.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
And then of course, if anything happens at home, it takes 2 days to get back. So a mix of factors, obviously. And I came back. And
so they hired you and they posted you in Paris.
So my conversations with them there were that I'll go for the project that's happening in Islamabad.
Okay, so we're going to just take a short break here before you land back in Pakistan.
Sure.
And we're going to be right back. A very, very interesting conversation with Mahreen. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Sky's the Limit. This is Syed Farooq Hasan. After this short break, we are back into conversation with Mahreen Shahid. Mahreen, you landed back in Pakistan. Then what happened?
I landed back in Pakistan, very passionate young individual. So when I came back to Pakistan, I was as a young individual, I was very passionate about doing something here, and I felt that I'm going to maybe make a mark. And I wanted to do something in the public health space. So I was doing a lot of research. I was speaking to a lot of sort of experts in the field to just get a sense of what's going on.
Your parents were very supportive throughout, is it?
My parents were very supportive in things along the way.
Along the way.
And some things I had to take them with me. It's a mix. So, they're very supportive of the things I'm passionate about.
Okay, great.
So when I came, I said, what do I want to do? I asked myself that. I was speaking to people. So I got very interested in maternal reproductive health space because what happens in not only Pakistan, it's all over the world, that the key public health needs of any society are maternal newborn child health. 90% of women are or will be mothers in most societies. So that's where you can have the most impact. So I founded my NGO called Safe Delivery, Safe Mother at the time. We had there was a grant competition.
Which year was this?
This is 2017. So I remember there was a grant competition called the D Prize Award. It was a San Francisco-based organization, and they basically released this award that we have maternal health, and you have to pitch your solutions, and then they were going to score you, and they would the top organization would win. So and they said you can start as an initiative. So I designed my first program on maternal health, which was to address the leading causes of maternal mortality, and I pitched it, and we won that. So the first time I won $8,000.
Oh wow!
This is 2017, where I felt, oh my God, this is amazing. So I won the money, and they're like, now you can.
So it was like a prize money, or was it?
It was like a grant, a small grant, where they said
to be utilized for a certain purpose.
For the project that I had pitched.
Okay.
So that's.
And you were on it on a solo basis, or you had some help, some friend or someone else who?
So in the beginning, I had a friend who helped me, but I was the main person driving it from here.
Okay.
And quite lost, to be honest.
Okay.
I don't know.
So the World Bank Dream,
it was ongoing alongside.
So you were consulting also?
Yes, you're allowed to, as a short-term consultant, you can do your own work as well. So this was in parallel. Okay. So when I founded that and I started, my work is essentially that we do not work in the private sector. We do not create separate private sector work. We work with the public sector. So what that means is we train their staff. We work at their basic health units, at the primary healthcare system, their hospitals, their systems, because the best way to strengthen public health system is to work with the public sector.
With the public, and to enhance or improvise the system rather than
the infrastructure
the people who are affected by the
system.
Exactly,
because I could set up a clinic in a place, but as an NGO, my outreach would be great,
very limited,
but it would be that specific place. So we, for example, work a lot in Punjab. So we partner with the primary secondary health department. We'll pick a district. We train all their staff. We're going to monitor uptake and see how that's happening on all basic health units. So that outreach is something that really excites me. So all of my programs are that. I'm personally passionate about being in rural, low resource, challenging environments where the ask is higher. You have to be more innovative. You have to come up with more cost-effective solutions. So I won't go into technical details, but I'll give an example. For example, we train birth attendants to provide skilled services to women, because my entire mandate is women's health. And those solutions cost as low as $2,
okay,
or $4 or $5. And in Pakistan's case, it's very, very impactful, because we are a low resource, settings, our budgets are low. So that's where the innovation lies. And that's where I work. So we support the staff to provide services to women, pregnant women, their families, and that's the main area that I focus on.
So you do research, you attend seminars worldwide, you take their best practices and try and get them implemented in Pakistan. Is that what you do?
So it's not, so I push back on this thinking actually. We now in the field, in the work that I'm doing, we are also experts. We have a lot to offer to the world.
Okay.
So I'm invited to speak and share my experiences.
Oh, very nice.
And talk about the work we are doing. So of course we learn from research, technology, and work that's happening abroad, but it's now more in partnership. Okay. So I always say that you can't have a university in the US tell us what to do, because we are from here, we know better what can be done. What we should do is partner for research, for resources, to get like that benefit, and then we give our input.
Okay. And do you do this, your outreach is all over Pakistan?
So we've...
or specifically in some, like only in Punjab?
So our training programs with birth attendants we've done in Punjab quite extensively, and Gilgit-Baltistan. So we've gone all the way up to the Khunjrab Pass actually, very rural areas.
Okay.
We do this in partnership with the primary secondary health department. We pick districts of high need districts or districts that are priority for different topics. So it's leading causes of maternal mortality, reproductive health, family planning, counseling women, giving them awareness of women's health, trying to give them agency, decision-making power.
Wow.
These are some of the things that we focus on.
And you get funding from different donors internationally, or how does it work?
So it's actually a mix. We have a lot of individuals. I mean, I think you would agree that Pakistan is one of the most generous countries in the world.
Yes.
So we get a lot of funding from individuals
General
here.
public, okay.
Expats very, very advocate our work and of course for grants as well.
Donors.
Grants and donors is more where, you know, the brain power goes. I design a program,
Yeah.
we pitch it,
Specific program.
we compete for it, and you know, then you're able to win that for that specific thing. And you
So
know,
that must be a constant tension also to generate funds to
Yes.
actually roll out these programs, yeah?
it's difficult because in the non-profit space you can't, and especially in the rural areas, you don't really have a paying patient, or you know, and especially the work that we're doing, we're bringing in the technical expertise, the financial resources to actually make that impact.
Yeah. So here's a big shout out to all the general public in Pakistan to support all these kind of programs which are for the betterment of the people of Pakistan, and you know, people who cannot make it to the most advanced centers or stations for their treatment, you know, it's you know, NGOs like these which are reaching out. Tell me one thing, there's a lot of work being done in this field. I know a lot of other people who are working in this mother health sector, but still the death rate of childbirth, you know, like mothers dying during childbirth, still very high in Pakistan, probably one of the highest in the world.
Yes.
Why is that?
Yes, so I mean, we have about like 14,000 women who die during childbirth every year. That's about one death every 37 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's massive. So you're right. I think there are a host of reasons. One is, you know, a lot of women in rural areas are still delivering with, you know, those unskilled birth attendants. We call them DAIs.
Okay.
Long
okay.
distances from health facilities.
Like a quack, you mean a quack?
I mean, they're
Who are not trained.
They're not trained, but they're, you know, generationally been doing it in their community.
Okay.
They
Okay.
wouldn't charge money.
Okay.
You know, so that long distances from health facilities. Then you have a lot of socio-economic, cultural beliefs. So you know, financial constraints. Women sometimes are in long distances, may not be allowed to seek health care. So there are a lot of things that we have to navigate to actually make healthcare accessible at women's doorstep.
Okay.
That's what my vision is.
Great. I believe that the public sector spending or budget for health definitely needs a boost and should be enhanced given the circumstances or the conditions that we have specifically in rural areas. But how effective do you feel is the work of the NGOs who are operating in Pakistan right now, and how much focus of the international community is on this issue?
So a couple of things I think are important to call out. One is, you know, you cannot replace the public sector. That's why we work with the public sector.
Yeah.
But what's important is you need the right support. So yes, we need more, you know, resources. We need an enabling environment. Anybody who's worked in Pakistan knows it's hard to operate an NGO because of a host of external factors. There are administrative, legal, technical requirements which keep us on our toes, jumping through
All the
hoops.
time,
So it's
yeah.
you have to truly be passionate. There are days where I'm like, why am I doing this? You know, and it's natural. And you see NGOs stepping up a lot. So in the aftermath of the flooding, the work that was done by civil society and NGOs was massive. When I was one of the people who was, you know, wondering where do I fit into this in the aftermath of the flooding, I was one of, I think, 2 or 3 local NGOs working on the rights of pregnant women. So we designed a birthing kit and we provided that to the most worst flood affected areas of Balochistan, Sindh, South Punjab and Swat in KPK.
Right.
So the birthing kit basically comprises of essential items and it costed like $7, the summer kit, and in the winter kit we added a blanket and some more baby clothes. It came to $11, so very cost effective. We partnered with hospitals, NGOs, local partners in the community, and we distributed about over 5,000 kits in about over 22 districts.
Oh.
And we worked for about a year after the aftermath of the floods on flood rehabilitation.
That's
and
less than 3,000 rupees. Yeah?
Yes, and the work we did was all from contributions from Pakistanis, expats, people just, you know, I was just the intermediary really, you know, getting that and then channeling it into the communities. And in the field I saw that, you know, NGOs were working so well, collaborating together. There were districts like Dadu where the water was up till here, 11, 12 feet for at least 6 to 9 months. And our teams went and reached women by foot, by boat, it was by car. I mean,
Wow.
by any means, those were the areas that we went to.
So all these people that you mentioned, are they volunteers or they work for your NGO? Are they your staff? How
So for
how much team do you have?
So we have a core team. It's a small core team, but a really good, effective core team. But in the case of the floods, my house was flooded with volunteers. So people used to reach out. We used to do a call for volunteers. People were pouring in terms of like contributions, their time, their energy, helping us on social media, and the kits basically required assembling like a factory type assembly. So we would spend the weekend doing that. Sundays we would dispatch to the communities. And these are all people who spent month upon month with us to actually reach women in need. And we did birthing kits, menstrual hygiene kits, and that these were the target population. Because after the floods, a lot of the focus was on food, shelter, medication, which is natural.
Yeah.
But we saw that UNFPA also released that about 650,000 women were pregnant, and you can't stop the timeline on that.
Yeah.
So that's the gap where we were
Great.
plugged in.
How many NGOs approximately are working in this sector in Pakistan? Any idea?
I think we have a few who are working in this space, but I think we have very few which are dedicated to this space.
Okay.
So I would say maybe, let's say we have about 5 to 7 or 10 which you would say are specializing on maternal health, reproductive health, and within this field, which are really focused on women's health and their needs.
Okay.
Because we also do sessions with the community to understand what the challenges are, and we design programs accordingly. So for example, our next program that we are launching is on addressing postpartum depression for rural women.
Oh.
And that's not been done in Pakistan at
Yeah.
this level. We're going
Yeah.
to be training birth attendants to provide essential services for women who deliver and suffer in silence.
My God. Okay. Okay. Great. And are you still continuing with your consultancy of the World Bank, or?
I'm not currently with the World Bank. Currently, I am working with another organization, Global Health Visions. So I'm working with them as a senior advisor. They're doing phenomenal work in the public health space. So I do that alongside my NGO work, and that also is all public health. So I work quite extensively across a portfolio of issues: cholera, polio, maternal newborn child health. So I think consulting is a big part of who I am. It's a big part of how I think about problems and how I frame them. So yeah,
Wow.
that goes alongside.
So tell me now, how do you keep yourself motivated? What inspires you? What motivates you?
So what motivates me, I think, it's a strange way to frame it, but I enjoy where things are chaotic and challenging.
Oh, okay.
So I'll go to the field, and I know what
You don't like calm and peace.
calm and peace, exactly. So I'm like,
You
look
like
what's-
chaos.
Chaos, and
Okay.
Pakistan, you get enough chaos,
Okay.
and the chaos
There's
is where
never a dull moment.
exactly, and chaos is where the impact lies. So that's what keeps me
There's
motivated.
an opportunity in
Yes, I would say that it can be very lonely and isolating when you're sort of struggling to progress in this field. I would like to call out that there are people who have really helped me along the way. My team, our board, people who have mentored me, people who contribute to our work, people who trust us enough. I get calls from so many people, and they're like, we know the work you're doing. This is our contribution. Please, do it for this program or this program, or.
So it's just word of mouth, or do you do any specific programs to raise funds?
We do it. It depends on the kind of work we're doing. So I mean, if you get a grant, that's very specific. But for example, right now we are building homes for low resource communities in Sindh. So we are building sustainable, cost-effective homes for flood-affected communities out of paper tubes and bamboos.
Oh.
So we are actively, fundraising for that. We just completed our first phase. Paper tubes have never been used in Pakistan. When I tell people paper tubes, they have
They're
a
like, what?
strange reaction where they're like, and reasonable, where they think it's a very weak structure. So I collaborated with this really renowned Japanese architect, Shigeru Ban, and I went to Japan to talk about my work, and that's where the partnership happened. And we're actually building homes since.
So is it like in action, like these paper?
Yes.
You've actually
We've done
executed
it. Yes, so we did a pilot in Lahore to test the materials, and we made changes as per Pakistan's context because there were some design specifications and needs here. And then we built in Dadu. We just finished last month our first phase. We built homes for flood affected
How
people.
many homes did you?
We've built 2 right now, and we've handed over to the communities. And now next month after Eid, we are going to be building 10 homes and 2 school classrooms.
And how much does it cost for one, like any rough idea?
So it costs about $2,000 one home. It's 5,50,000 rupees.
Okay.
And then we add a battery powered solar system,
Okay.
which costs about $200.
Okay.
So it's a
Very
full
nice.
unit that we make for
Very good.
underprivileged families.
Very, very nice. Okay. Coming back to your sports thingy, what made you, do all this running and, marathons, participating in and you do what, 10, 20 kilometers? Yeah?
Yes,
When did this all happen? How is it just an escape from the tedious work that you do?
partly yes.
Okay.
But I think COVID happened,
Mhm.
and when COVID happened, so we were all, gym goers or playing a sport, and then everybody was sort of wondering what to do, and people were working out at home. And that's when I realized that, I really enjoy running, so maybe I should do that a little bit. So it started very casually, it's just COVID 2020, 21, and just started it very casually. I had a couple of friends who on and off joined, and then I discovered a whole runners community in Lahore. And it was so inspiring. You have like a lot of men, women, younger, older, everybody
Yeah,
sort of getting
yeah,
together with the
yeah,
passion to run. So most people run in the morning. I'm not really a very early morning person, but that picked up, and then it just became a thing where I was like, this is exciting. And then we actually became part of a group called Run for Coffee, which is a girls' running group.
Run
So
for
that's-
coffee.
Yes, that's like our favorite sort of, the girls are running together. It's exclusive to women, which is what I love.
Yeah.
And after we run in the morning, then you get
Go for
coffee,
coffee.
you go for breakfast. So we actually did our first half marathon in February.
Okay.
This year, the official Lahore marathon happens every year in February.
Mhm.
So we did our first half marathon, which is 21.1.
Wow.
And today we're also here as a group
Yeah.
from Lahore to go to the Islamabad night run.
And what's the maximum distance you run? Like at
So-
one time, one given moment?
A half marathon, so 21.1.
21.1.
Yeah.
Okay.
The goal is to do a marathon next year, which would be 42.2.
It must take a lot of endurance and
Yeah.
resilience, yeah?
It does, especially in the Lahori heat. And if you want to run outdoors, that's
So
where the real.
give us a few tips. What should one do to run so long, like without and in one go?
So when I started, I couldn't run for more than a minute. So what you have to do is slowly build up your.
So from 1 to 5
yes,
minutes, 5 to 10
you
minutes.
keep doing that, and then there are several programs. I would recommend to use a couch to 5K program. That's actually a very structured program which trains you to get up from your couch and become a 5K.
It's an
runner.
online program.
There are many programs. You can just like Google it, and you'll find there are different programs. So whichever one suits your, routine, you can just do that.
Okay.
And running is a group activity. It's a solo activity. It's a mixture of both.
Yeah.
It's indoors. It's
And you can
outdoors.
run anywhere. No? You don't need
Yeah.
specific equipment for running.
Exactly.
Just a pair of sneakers and kit, and you just start it.
And the good thing is, of course, I mean, you can run in Lahore and Islamabad, not in Dadu.
Mm.
So it depends on where you live.
Okay.
So,
okay.
yeah.
And what about, do we have another Nida Dar in the making, or cricket will take a back
I mean,
seat?
cricket, I think, was probably something that I was passionate about. I enjoyed it a lot. We are lucky to have a Oxford-Cambridge Society in Lahore, and we have our hardball matches. So that's, I think, the only cricket left in me, because
Okay.
that's what's
Okay.
what I can do with things that I'm managing. But I'm very inspired by the women's cricket scene in Pakistan and how
Yeah.
it's bloomed, and we've
Right.
seen many stars over the last
Right.
decade or so.
Yeah, cool. What are your future plans?
So my future plans for my NGO are to grow it, of course, to go into even more challenging rural, remote areas. We would love for organizations to partner with us, people doing similar work. There are NGOs and organizations doing brilliant work who collaborate with us, who offer their time and services. So looking forward to doing that. And to just engage in, running, socializing in the sense like with friends, just, having a good time.
Living life, enjoying life, and at the same time helping the society.
Exactly.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's in a nutshell.
Exactly.
That's awesome. That's very good. Any specific message that you'd like to give to the youth of Pakistan? So many viewers watching you right now. Anything you'd like to say to them?
So I think for the youth of Pakistan, I would like to say that there are a couple of things that come to mind if I have to
Please.
advise them.
Yeah.
If that's the right word, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
is that if you're passionate about something or interested about it, make sure to explore it. Even if you don't have a goal, a plan. I mean, I started SDSM with a very uncertain plan. Supportive parents, like I took their car and went to Shekhupura. I have to sit in the community and talk to folks. So do those experiences. Those are the ones that really get you thinking. Second, seek the right mentors. This is also a message to older people that when young folks reach out, please respond to them. Give them the time of day. They are at a critical point,
and don't ignore them.
Don't ignore them, because I don't think I got a very positive response in the beginning when I started. So please do so. When young people reach out, help them out. And third, just like follow your heart. If you like something, there'll be people from all sides telling you this doesn't work, this doesn't make sense, this doesn't make enough money. This so I did that, and it took me places.
I think that's one of the most important things. Follow your heart.
Yeah.
You need to dream big.
Yeah.
Because whatever you're doing right now, I'm sure if you would have thought about this when you were in grade 8 or in O levels, you would probably be like, nah, it's not doable.
Never.
So everything is doable with time, with the right kind of focus, and with the right kind of effort.
Yes, and it's a very fulfilling career. Like, I've been invited all over the world to talk about my work.
Wow.
And to just share. And that has not only for my sake, but that has helped build partnerships and collaborations. The example of the flood housing that I'm telling you comes from a trip that I made, because I was invited to talk about my maternal health work. And things lead places, and it's just been a pretty great sort of journey. It's been a building blocks journey. Like,
awesome.
Started small but went places, I think.
Very nice. And I'm sure your parents must be very, very proud of you.
Yes, they are. They're absolutely very supportive of the work I do. You need, I think, supportive family to go to the kind of places and work that I do. So they definitely are the backbone.
Great, great. Mahreen, it was such a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for sharing your precious time with us, sharing your life journey. I'm sure it will inspire a lot of people. And I wish you all the best for your marathon run tonight. And I hope you come in the top 3.
Thank you so much.
Viewers, with this we come to the end of this very, very interesting episode of Sky's the Limit. Inshallah, I'll meet you next week with a new guest. Till then, Allah Hafiz.